Hey guys, John here. Today we're in Pigments. I am in a funky and weird mood, so let's make a funky and weird patch here. So new preset, and we're going to go to the analog and then drop this down by 1 octave here. And also add in a square wave for this one as well, and give it a couple voices of unison. Maybe 3. Something kind of like that. So this is going to be where we're starting here. So this is going to be fun because we're going to go to our first function and we're going to go to our downward drawing here and just make something kind of like this, right? And then for our LFO, let's go, I guess use LFO2 for this case. And let's make this straight only and maybe make this 1/1, something like that for now, and change this to free running. So we're going to jump into the combinate tab, and the first one, as you guessed it, we're going to pick the first function, which is going to be those little saw waves that we see down here. And then for the second one, we're going to select our second LFO. And then once we kind of put this amount up a little bit like that, we can see that shape of the LFO, but also those little teeth that we have for our function. So with this being said, let's bring down our cutoff and then drop the comb on top of the filter. So you have something kind of like that. Maybe our function's a little bit too fast. Let's drop this down. Okay, we're kind of getting there. Maybe if LFO2 is a little faster. Okay, so let's spice this bad boy up here. So maybe we can do a little bit more with the volume. So if we kind of maybe brought this down and use the function to kind of give us a little bit more of dynamics here. Almost like that, the like waka 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 kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get into some effects because I can kind of see some like this happening. Maybe we can... Man, this MS-20 never lets me down. I swear to God. Okay, so in effects, let's go to, I guess you're going to guess it because I always do this. I can't not do it. Let's bring out some of the mud. Clean up our sound a little bit. Maybe we can add a little bit of a chorus Juno 6 here. And I always like the, Jesus Christ, the first mode. Oh, yeah. That's actually kind of fine right there. And I think what we also need as well is sound. I feel like we need a phaser and maybe a flanger. We'll see if the flanger will work for that. But yeah, let's first get a phaser here and kind of dial something like this in. Oh my God, this is sounding so cheesy. Oh yeah. I mean, if you're not nodding your head at that, I mean, what is even wrong with you at this point? Okay, so moving on, let's go, I guess, BL20 flanger, see what that does to this. Oh, yeah. That's too fast. That's kind of nice. And maybe since we have 2 more slots, I kind of do want to save one maybe for reverb. So I guess we should probably do a delay because, I mean, we kind of have to. Maybe tape echo. We'll see. Let's see what this one is. Kind of going for cheesy a little bit. Okay, I'm maybe a little bit more high end here, so we can kind of bring this up like this. We can almost treat this like a gate here too. If we brought this all the way down, it's a little bit more snappy. We're kind of peaking. Let's bring this down a little bit here. kind of like that. I think we also, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of distortion here because we can't always use the external reverb for, whatchamacallit, for effects here. So I got to stretch this thing. I don't know what happened here. That's kind of weird. Okay, so yeah, let's do a little bit of saturation or distortion, something kind of like that. Bring something like that out here. That might be a little bit more helpful, I guess, in this case. We could also add something to kind of get a little bit more of that texture, I guess, on the top end. Maybe something on a wavetable that's kind of, I guess, processed in here. Maybe something like, I don't know, let's see what this one is. See how this sounds. Maybe a little bit of noise to kind of, I guess, carry that frequency range, right? And maybe send this to filter 2. Kind of get a little bit more of that sizzle there, right? Maybe you might as well do 2. For some reason, I don't know who decided to pick these two noises in conjunction, but they sound great together. It's probably a very thought out process by the guys at Arturia. But anyway, here we go. For some reason, I like this one in the second filter. Maybe we'll just turn the second filter on and put it to the MS-20 and call it a day here and just kind of leave it there. 'Cause sometimes running it through the filter itself just kind of does something to it. And last thing before we let you go, I guess we got to do our macros, but I do feel like maybe we could do a little bit of glide here. Maybe that might be interesting. Okay, that's actually coming up pretty cool. Okay, so let's do our macros. So generally the first one here, we're going to do the cutoff. So let's bring this kind of down here, something like that, and then grab the first macro, bring this here, and give it a good healthy amount. And let's call this cut off. I spelled that right. And then the resonance as well, let's bring that down, drop this here, and give it a healthy amount, and res. And let's just see, I guess, if we don't really do something too crazy. Oh, it keeps even getting cooler. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like right at that threshold before it starts getting kind of crazy here. So effects here, I guess we're gonna do it on macro 4. So macro 4, let's drag and drop this here on the Juno 6. The phaser, it's just kind of funny. I don't really use a phaser on these. The flanger, the echo, and the, I guess, the distortion. I might as well call it that as well. Okay, so this Juno 6 is 50%, so remember that we do 0.5, something like that. And then for the phaser, this is going to be also 50%, so same deal in that sense. And then for the flanger, we kind of went a little overboard at 58, so I guess we'll go to 0.58 to match that. The tape echo, 28%, maybe, I guess 25 is going to be fine. I don't want to overdo the delays here. And then the distortion's 50%, so we'll do the same thing. And this is what it sounds like without FX. Kind of nasty too. But yeah, that's up to you to decide. So effects here. And what we can do as well, so to kind of bring in this second wavetable, we can just bring this volume down and then put the third macro, something like this, on the volume. Actually, you know what? It might be interesting to do the position knob, actually. That might be a little bit cooler. Let's give the whole amount here so we can kind of pick what we want. And maybe while we're at it, let's bring this up a little bit more, I guess. Oh, that would be cool to put on the macro as well. So this is the fun part about macros, is like you kind of just add things and you kind of come up with some crazy stuff. Kind of cool actually right there. So let's label this as fun because it's a lot of fun. But yeah, a lot of the things that's pulling this weight is this combinate tab. So we kind of briefly went over it, but basically what we're kind of doing here is adding 2 different modulation sources. So this first function that's just doing these really fast triangle kind of shark fin saw, whatever we want to call this here. And then our second LFO that's just a slow sine wave on free run and at a rate of 1/2. And then here we kind of just fade those in together. So we're still getting that slow motion in time with our LFO, but also just adding these 2 so you can kind of see how those are basically multiplied or crossfaded technically here. We can actually go multiplying the other ones. Those are a lot of fun too, but yeah, so that basically concludes this one. This is a weird patch. I generally don't make ones like this, but hey, it was a lot of fun. I guess weird and funky or something like that, or funky and weird. I don't know, whatever will sound better when I say this patch. So if you want to get funky and weird, oh man, when I say it like that, it's kind of weird. But anyway, if you want to get this patch, there's a download link in the video description below, and it can be yours. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something, mainly with the combinate. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.